Okay, so here we are with the cattail scarf, and I'm going to show you how to do the slip stitch section. And we've done our first three, the cast on, the first increase, the 2 setup rows, and then our first 3 sections of the increase row sets. And so now it's the slip stitch section, and what we do is we do the first row just like we do the first row of the increase section. So I'm going all the way to the last stitch, and I'm going to go down and increase in the stitch below, and then knit that, and then knit the edge stitch. Now here's what's different. We're going to do the first slip stitch row, and so we're going to slip as normal, but now we're going to knit our stitches. And it's the process of knit the first stitch, slip the next stitch with the yarn in back. So on the front side of our fabric, we're actually creating a little horizontal line across that stitch. And then we knit the next stitch and slip with the yarn in the back of the work. And then we knit the last stitch. Now, because we're always increasing, the directions say that you might end with a knit stitch, or if you've increased and it puts off the numbers, you might have to end with a slip stitch. It doesn't matter which one you end with, you just keep going until you run out of stitches, and then the last edge stitch, you bring your yarn back to the front, because this one you slip purlwise with the yarn in front of your work. Then we do the next row of the slip stitch pattern, and so it's the edge stitch, we're going to knit that, but now we're going to purl. And if this first stitch was a purl stitch in back, and how are you, you can remember that was a knit stitch so that it created a purl stitch in front, and you see that closed little button. If it was a slip stitch, you're going to see that little float. Okay, so we know that we ended the last starred repeat there with a knit stitch. So we're going to do the opposite. So I've knit my edge stitch, and I'm bringing my yarn around to the front. That was a stitch, was a knit stitch, which made a purl stitch in the front. So the first stitch I'm just going to slip. This stitch was a slip in the back. So this one I'm going to work, and that means I'm going to purl. So you see how we're doing the opposite? This one was a knit or created a purl in the front, so that one I'm just going to slip. But this one has the float, so this was a slip stitch, which means I'm going to work it. That's a purl. And then this one, we always are going to end that second stitch before. We're always going to end this row with a slip stitch, because we always start that second row in the back with a knit stitch. So that's a finished stitch. We're going to slip, bring our yarn around, and then knit our edge stitch. And then our last row is again just like the other section, that we're going to slip the first stitch, purl all the rest of the stitches until the last one, and then slip the final stitch. And then we're ready to just simply begin again on our, pull that little taut, begin again now with the repeats of the increase row sets. And so it's 3 increase row sets, and then the slip stitch set. Or the pattern, I guess I called it, the slip stitch pattern. And that is just going to keep repeating until you get 55 stitches or you get, you know, you've increased enough so that this has 55 stitches. And then we will start the decrease, and I'll just show you how to do the decrease next.